All right, so this is the 2149. Whoop, I'm making a mess. I haven't shown you any updates on this since I've got it pretty much tweaked and finalized for taking it over to Sawfest. Last video we showed you, the timing was advanced too far. So today, we're just going to run it and kind of show you what it's running like. You'll see she looks awful. She's got a 350 starter, which, you know, the original starter, the spring broke in there and a rope. And then this is a 350 cover. I didn't want to mess up my original cover, so I cut a 350 color cover to kind of fit on there. It's only got one screw in it. So, you know, we're going to go with that. She got enough oil. I better put some oil in her. Going to put the DGP in her now. Probably from now on this will be running DGP bar oil. I've been testing on the cheap bar oil and I'm starting to run the DGP oil now. Now, if you haven't noticed, I got the GoPro going, and hopefully this works out. We're going to run two cameras. So, two cameras should give you a new perspective of what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're going to try the GoPro out. I haven't used this thing in several years, so I don't even know if it's going to work. I could be talking to nothing right now. We'll see. Now, I've been putting the camera behind the saw. I'm going to move it a little bit forward today. Hopefully it doesn't get too messed up. In fact, I'm going to shoot my intro on my regular camera, my phone. That way, hopefully, we can make a cool video. You know what I mean? So let's put that there. And let's switch to the normal camera and start our video from here. All right, the Delta Red 2149. Poured it up. This is how she's showing up at Sawfest. And as you can see, I got a GoPro stuck to my head, so hopefully you get some GoPro footage. I haven't used this thing in a few years, so I don't even know if this is going to work out, but we're going to try. It should give us a new perspective, you know, on these videos. And I'm thinking about trying to run it at Sawfest with this GoPro in my head. We'll see. I ordered some new batteries. This headband thingy, it's so old, it's all stretched out. I had to tie knots just to get it to kind of stay. So I ordered some new batteries, a new memory card, all sorts of stuff. And we're going to work at getting GoPro footage for you from now on. Now, the 350, yeah, the 350. It's got a 350 starter on it right now because the other one broke. I haven't ordered a new spring yet. I'm good with this for now. And it's got that cover on it. It's just got one screw in it. So I got to kind of finagle my way in there to kind of use the choke, but you know, at least there's a cover on it, just in case there's some weird roll that I have to have a top cover on it. At least there's a cover on it, you know what I mean? I'm going to try to keep the camera a little bit more forward so you can hear the saw a little better. I've been keeping it kind of behind the saw, and you don't get the full effect of how this saw sounds. It reminds me of a 550, like a ported up, nice hot sounding 550, which is not it's not what you're used to hearing out of these 346s and stuff. It's got that really heavy 4-stroke on the top end. So, you know, and the sound of this might change a little because we're getting a muffler from Briscoe. He's supposed to bring it to Sawfest. I shipped him a muffler. He's going to do a muffler mod, and I asked him to try to do it like this, but I didn't show him what it looked like. So, I mean, I'm good with it. I just, you know, pour it out the front, I told him, make it kind of like bull horns. So that was his instruction. we'll see what we end up with. And I don't think I got really much more to talk about. Yeah, I do. So, the changes since the last video. The ignition timing was set at like 8 degrees, maybe a little more, maybe closer to 9 or 10 degrees. I backed it off. It's sitting closer to like 6 degrees right now. I didn't measure it exactly, but my guess is in that ballpark at around 6 degrees. I had it advanced too far the last time you saw it. So I backed her off to about 6 degrees, and she seems to be running perfect right now. She's ported. You've seen all the porting footage. The carb swap's done. You know, you've already seen all that stuff. It's just from the last video to today. We got that top cover on it. I backed the ignition timing on it. I changed the clutch. We started out on one chain. I took it off. I put on a steel 23RS that I sharpened, which we had looked at that chain previously on another video. And I ran it for a little while. And then I tried tightening or dropping the rakers on it to try to make it eat a little better. I still wasn't happy with it. So I switched to this chain, which you've seen video on this stuff. It's not the same chain as you've seen before, but this is a different loop altogether, but it's sharpened up the same way and everything. I can get this chain to self-heat a lot better than I can 23RS. And I like a lot of self-heat, I'm finding. I don't like to have to push it through the wood that much. I like to try to find that self-heat at just like that perfect spot where it does most of the work, which I'll be honest, probably 90% or better of the people who would ever try my chain probably would not like it because it feels so extremely different than what you're used to running. So like 90% of people probably will not like my chains. It's one of the reasons I've never really offered to try to sell them or anything like that. It's just because I know already from letting people run my saws that they're really not a fan of the way my chains feel. It's just me, it's my preference, and they have a buttload of self-feed. It's just the way I like it, you know? 7-pin sprocket, nothing there. I won't even entertain an 8-pin sprocket until I get to like 90 cc plus. And that just depends on how I have the chain set up, really. So, I think that's about it though. That's pretty much your updates. I mean, it's just, we got the ignition timing fixed, we got the chain swapped out, something I like a lot better, and, you know, put that kind of makeshift top cover on it. Let's go ahead and give her a start, make some cuts. And hopefully the GoPro is rolling good. And I already turned it on when I was in the shop, so you're gonna have some footage from that. But if you do, it's working. If you don't get the GoPro footage, then it didn't work. But yeah, let's get her fired up and see what happens. All right. Hopefully this just doesn't screw with your sound on the camera. I might have you a little too close. Echo's coming to visit. That's Echo, by the way. She's the only dog we have left here. She was doing pretty bad for a long time. Most people would have put her down. I was going to put her down, but she's coming back to health. I bet you she spent a year in bad shape, a good year or more. But she's really picking up lately. She's getting funky, aren't you, Echo? So, yeah, she's still around. Took her like a year to get better, though. I don't know what it was. We tried everything. But let's get this thing fired up. Alrighty. Probably going to scare Echo. Yep. She's like, I had enough of that. Where's that choke? There it is. Alrighty. She's already back at the house. She took off running. Where's that choke? There it is. Alrighty. She's already back at the house. She took off running. There she is. She's not a 350. She's a 2149, a Johnson Red 2149 with one of the cheap, really cheap aftermarket top ends. I don't think I spent more than like 40 bucks for that top end on it, you know. I did end up putting a second piston in it, which you saw all that, and we're entertaining putting a third one in it. But I don't know, I kind of like it. I'm kind of curious to see how she does at the races, you know what I mean? I really like the way it runs though. I do. Now, when I first fire this thing up and run it, probably the first 5 or 6 cuts sound a little slightly dirty in the exhaust. And then the more I put heat into it, the more it cleans up. So I'm running it a touch on the fat side, which, you know, it's not so fat that it's 4-stroking and stuff, but it is slightly dirty there until she really starts to put the heat to it. And I'm leaving it like that. And one of the things you missed on a previous video, I never turned the camera on, is basically what happened, is I was in the middle of making a cut and I think the ring started to seat. And what happened was I was in the middle of a cut and it was like a light switch went off and the tune went fat on me. And ever since then, I had to lean it out a little bit to bring it back. But ever since then, it's kind of ran a little better, you know? And I think the ring started to seat on me right in the middle of a cut. It's the first time I ever had that happen in the middle of a cut. Usually I shut it off one day and the next day I start it and it's rich. That's usually what happens. And I mean, that was the first time I've ever experienced something like that right in the middle of a cut. So it's not completely broken though. I can tell you just by the way it runs, there's no way in heck this thing's completely broken. We are not, that far into it, but I'm pretty happy with the way it's running. It's really torquey. That chain is really, really hungry. We are cutting on oak, in case you're wondering. This is oak. I don't think it's red oak. It could be. I'm not that familiar, but I can tell just from looking at these chips. I mean, she's oak. So, yeah. I mean, you can tell from the chips that she is oak, but look at how, I mean, I'm getting some pretty healthy chips for oak. You don't usually see that from oak. This chain is, she's plowing through it pretty good. Here's see how she does at the races. I'm going to wait until after the races to see how she does before I start deciding on other work that I want to do to it. You know what I mean? I don't plan on leaving that cover on there. I don't plan on leaving that starter on there. We're going to take her back to looking good. She looks awful right now. We are going to fix some of that. So give her time. We got a good running saw for the races, and I figured I'd put this video together for you. Hopefully the GoPro stuff turned out. If it didn't, if you don't see any GoPro footage, it's just something went haywire, you know. So yeah, there we go. We'll talk to you next time. Later.